How we doing, gang? It thinned out. I was walking in here and I saw a bunch of bodies walking in the locker room. I said, "This is great. Nobody will be here." You guys hung in there, though, huh? I appreciate it. I don't have anything to throw out there right away. I'm just excited for the opening game, and I'll open it up for questions.
A lot of people talk about, Kyler Murray and what he brings, right? What sort of pressure he puts on different parts of your defense. There's a lot of mobile quarterbacks in the league now.
Yeah.
Does he fit into his own box that's maybe different than all of them?
In some ways, they're all different, but he's electric like Lamar, like Josh Allen's different, right? But, this guy gives you the same headaches that all those guys that are a threat to run, not just on designed quarterback runs, but when he decides to do it, especially on a pass play. And he's got a unique feel for when especially if you're in man, you got a unique feel for finding that. And when he takes off and gets north and south, you guys have seen the film, that can be a problem.
Coach, in the past, you've always talked about identifying a game record.
Yeah.
When you plan for an opponent. Obviously, the Cardinals don't have DeAndre Hopkins available for this week. How dynamic is this offense still, even without a guy like DeAndre?
Yeah, there's plenty of guys there that can make plays. Number 4 is scary. I think he'll surface as a guy that they did things with number 13 last year. I still got a great deal of respect for the running back. I think Ertz is still a quality tight end. I'm going on and on. AJ Green, nobody thinks and let's not forget that when Marquise Brown was in Baltimore, he was a guy that you would say. Now we haven't seen a lot of him, obviously from preseason, but we're going to respect him like we did when we played the Ravens. There's plenty of skill out there. Number one guy obviously is the quarterback, not just jersey number, but he's the guy. He can wreck a game, right? He can wreck a game throwing it, and he can wreck a game running it. So that'll be the major focus. But we're certainly not sleeping on any of those other skilled guys that they have. And the offense stretches you with skill. And they'll put 4 wideouts in. And they get a lot of space. They give number 1, all kinds of space, and that's where we got to try to be better.
Coach, you normally send guys just turn them loose, get after the quarterback. Is this a guy you got to try to contain rather than pressure?
Yeah, there's a little bit more of a corral philosophy rather than blow it up and take a hit. It's not about the explosive hit on number 1. It's about keeping them corralled and somehow getting them down. That's going to take more than one person. He makes any one person in space miss. So it's still going to come back to playing relentless football and getting a lot of guys around the ball, especially when he decides to tuck it and run.
We've seen a tendency, I think, over the years of you trying to lean into veterans early. This is a young defense.
Yeah.
You have to lean on rookies. Have you had to, in a way, get comfortable with the uncomfortable in that sense of, we got to lean into some of these rookies?
Yeah, in some regards. I think our young guys have done a real good job of picking it up. We've limited it for them. I think they played fast in all these preseason games. Now we know that's completely different than a regular season game and the things you're going to see. But I'm excited to see them play in this game and see how we're functioning. I say this all the time. It takes the first quarter of the season to really figure out who you are. And you go into this first game, and then we can look at loads of film like we have, but that doesn't mean that the Cardinals aren't going to change a little. We don't know. To me, the first 2 games of any NFL season is what you do in the game, adjusting more than probably what you do before it in a lot of ways.
You had all this time, Steve, to look at all these defensive linemen to understand how your pass rush rotation will look like. I'm wondering, given the opponent, given the quarterback, just what are you most interested to see that you maybe don't have a total feel yet?
Yeah. Well, obviously, George and Carlos are new to us, so there's that element. We know what Chris and Frank and Mike Dana can do, and we got some young guys that hopefully can get in there at some point. Just from an individual standpoint, it'd be the guys that haven't been here. But we got to line up and do what we do, and they got to line up and do what they do, what they're really good at, and hopefully that's good enough to, stop this offense.
Conventional wisdom, says that, hey, if an offense sees that there's young guys in the secondary, attack them early, test them out, see what they've got.
Yeah.
How do you prepare guys like Trent and Brian, who you're probably going to see significant time, being ready for that? And do you have to try and find ways early to help them out?
There may be a little bit of that helping out, but I'm going to trust these guys right now. We played the 3 preseason games. That gave us a little bit of indication, right? And they didn't get a lot of reps. But there's got to be some trust here, and there's got to be, there's baptism by fire, And we certainly know we're going to have to live with some, rookie mistakes. It's going to happen. I mean, everybody's going to make mistakes in this game. You just hope that their skill makes enough plays that it offsets that. And because what you don't want to have happen, especially in the positions you're talking about, right? A mistake back there, magnified, right? And you just hope it doesn't cost us in terms of points.
I was talking to Trent McGuffey in the locker room yesterday, and he was talking about how you guys just bombarded him with all the installs early.
Yeah.
And now it seems like it's game week, you're not going to
Yeah.
have all those plays. So it seemed like maybe a light had clicked for him, and he kind of liked that part of it. Have you seen that as a group with rookies, that everything you throw at them early pays off when you get to this, and they understand all that, but they know they don't have to have
Yeah,
all of it?
I think so. Part of that, I've told you guys this before, part of the reason we do that early is we want to find out who can think. If we just play one thing, you can see the skill. I mean, obviously we wouldn't have taken where we did if we didn't think they were skilled. I just think there's so much of this game that's from the chin to the hairline. And we threw a lot at Trent and all these guys. And the other thing, Trent had an added responsibility, was playing inside and outside. He didn't play inside at Washington, but we knew he could. I thought he did a really good job of that. So he was overloaded. It's good to know he feels like it's lightened a little bit. Because I say this all the time, you don't want to clutter their mind and then it ties up their feet, right? So hopefully we can go out there and play fast.
We'll get Justin Reed in a second here. Just generally speaking, since he's arrived, what have you seen from him as far as growth, and what are your expectations for him entering week one?
Yeah, listen, the way I see immediately what stands out is Justin's a pro in his preparation. You start to see that now, right? It's a little different in the preseason games when they know they're only going to play 10 plays and it's real limited. But I can see that in him during the week, in meetings, after meetings, on the field and walkthroughs. That part's great. It'll be, Juan's done a good job kind of piece it together for everybody because he's the guy that's been here. So I'm hoping all of that, Justin's vet presence because he's been in the league, Juan, the fact he's been in the system for 4 years, and the other guys just having some talent to play fast. Hopefully that molds together and we can do something good.
Steve, when you start talking about the new guys and trying to mold these guys together, does the identity of your defense change when you start thinking about it, or is it something that just kind of is organically happening?
Yeah, no, we're going to be who we are. And I talk to those guys a lot about that. That part won't change, and I think they'll just fit into that. Because, again, there's still enough guys here that have been here that know what we are and what we try to become and what we're going to mold. So we'll formulate it into that, and hopefully it comes out to something good. We'll see, right?
Coach Nick Bolton earned significantly more responsibility this offseason. What's your level of readiness, do you think, for him going into week one?
Yeah, his level would be really high. Super impressed with. Yesterday, something came up on the field or with a couple of calls, and I said, Nick, I'm going to make it easy on you. I'm going to do this. Coach, you don't need to do that. I've learned that I'm good. I mean, that's pretty reassuring, right? Because I wanted to keep it the way we had it, and he reassured me that there was no problem keeping it the way it was, and we'll roll. So I hope that answers what you're saying. That tells me all I need to know about Nick. And of course, we saw him play last year, so we know what kind of player is on the field.
So is that in relation to like a pre-snap adjustment?
You're trying to dig into what the actual call was, what he actually did or didn't do. It was two calls that I needed him to make two different checks, and I wanted to just make them one. Just make it easy for him. No, Coach, I got it. We can keep both, and we can do it like that. I'll let you know if he gets it, right? Right or not, yeah. Let me let you know.
A couple of the veterans yesterday talked about how they still get butterflies, going into
Yeah.
game one. What's your message to those rookies?
Well, I mean, there was a little bit of this, like even yesterday. Like yesterday wasn't a great practice. Our offensive look team was trying to simulate, a new offense. That's a little off. And then we were off a little bit because we did some things that we wanted to make sure they got in. So it didn't feel like, and I sensed that they were getting a little frustrated in this, that. So that means there's a little anxiety in there, right? They're all getting ready for a game now. Normally in training camp, you make a couple of mistakes. Everybody just goes to the cafeteria, eats, and they don't worry about it, right? When they get to the film, we screw it away. But they care now, right? They want to get it right. So I think there's an element of readiness there, and we'll piece it together, and hopefully it'll be something good on
How much
Sunday.
patience do you have to have for that?
I think you have a lot of patience. You got to have patience now. You got to have patience in the game. I reassured him this morning that look, that's natural. I expect him to go out today and have a really good practice. I really do. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.